Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God has provided me, and so I always like to introduce them because I couldn't do this without them. So let me start with my assistant, my faithful assistant, Faith. She is full of faith. Faith has been my assistant unofficially since the day she was born. She used to come up on the podium and we would sit her on the podium when she was a baby and I would do the announcements with her. And then she and her sister started handing out the affirmation cards we used to hand out every Sunday after the service. And about 5 years ago, she became my official assistant, both here at the church and at the other business that I have. So, and she's 18 and she's graduated and starting her life as an adult. So, and Faith is the one that behind the scenes, we always ask you if you're here, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us, because in a facility, I can look out and see who's here, but with this software, I don't have that capability. And so we ask you to say hi, hello, good morning. And the one who answers you is Faith. And I always go back later and check to see if there's anything else I need to say. But for the most part, Faith knows me better than I know myself because she's grown up like 6 blocks away from me and spent time at my house a lot when she was growing up. So she really knows me very, very well. So she does all the work behind the scenes, all the announcements and everything, or she gets it all so that you guys can see what I'm saying. And she's our soloist. So today we're going to be doing I'm so happy, I'm so grateful. Is that the name of it?
Happy and Grateful Swing from Elaine Silver.
That's right. Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. So anyway, thank you, Faith, for being here. We love you. I couldn't do this without you. So thanks. And then there is my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz. He was my first baby practitioner, which means he took all of his classes with me and then got licensed at my church and was my board president for years and years and years, since like 1998. And then he moved off to Florida. And so we weren't able to have him in the service anymore until we started doing this. And then right now he's in Wisconsin because he goes there for the summers. I don't blame you. It's pretty hot in Florida during the summer. Huh?
Just for the summer.
Just for the summer, yeah. So anyway, Oz will be praying us in, praying us out, and he will be available at the end for our 1-minute miracle, which I'll talk about more later. But thank you for being here, Oz. We love you. Alrighty then. Let's see. My adjunct music team, which means they don't perform, but they send us karaoke music so that we can perform music on Sundays, is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver and Karen Drucker. So I always like to acknowledge them because they are part of our team, even though they don't appear. So, and then the topic today, I believe I called the Path of Peace. It's had 15 different names since yesterday, and I'll tell you more about that later. But that's going to be our topic today. And then let's see, what else do I need to say? Oh, if you'd like to do a watch party, there's a watch party button. It's a great way for people to know what kind of services we have. So you can click on that watch party button and invite all your friends to watch the service. And you can talk back and forth without bothering anybody. So it's a great way for them to get their questions answered as well. So click on that watch party button and invite all your friends. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God, ever present, eternal, in all places, at all times, in all things, in me, in you, as me, as you. God manifests through every experience, through every being, through every layer of creation, from the universal to the subatomic. It is all one great thing that we call God. And I know that that energy is flowing through each of us right now, right here, wherever and whenever we are watching. For God is always there. And God moves through us, creating our lives as we go. Everything we experience, everything we see, everyone that we encounter, it is all an expression of this one great source that we call God. And for being part of that creation, I give joy and thanks that it is so, and I let it be, and I let it unfold, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. All right. So as I said before, if you're here, say hi, hello, good morning, however you'd like to let us know you're here. Even if you're here later, please check in and let us know you were here. It's kind of nice to know who's visiting. Like I said, if we were in a facility, I'd be able to look out and see the new faces, but I don't have that capability here. So I really appreciate it when you say hi, hello, or good morning. This next song is We Are All One, and it is a Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver song. Today seems to be Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver Day. It was a song she wrote when she was in practitioner training, and it is what we believe. We basically believe that we are all one and that we are connected by it, through it, as it. So if you don't know the words, learn them. It's a great way to remember your connection to all of life. And if you do know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud, because you can't bother anybody here.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
We are, in fact, all one in it. All right. So without further ado, I am going to turn this over to Faith to sing Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's song, So Happy, So Grateful.
Happy and grateful swing.
Happy and Grateful Swing.
All right. Grateful. I'm so happy, I'm so grateful, 'cause I can clearly see. I'm so happy, I'm so grateful, I can see. The joy that bubbles up in me, keeps me warm and trouble free. I'm happy, yes I am. I'm happy, yes I am. I'm happy, yes I am. I'm so happy and I'm so grateful. The truth is who I am. I'm so happy and I'm so grateful. All I feel is stand. Joy that's bubbling from within fills my heart up to the brim. I'm happy, yes I am. I'm happy, yes I am. I'm happy, yes I am. I'm so happy and I'm so grateful, and that's my destiny. I'm so happy and I'm so grateful, it's all good to me. Love I feel is love when from inside out it's crystal clear. I'm happy, yes I am. 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 I'm happy, yes I am.
Thank you so much. I forgot to say, if you like something you hear, whether that's something I say or Faith sings or Oz prays, by all means use the thumbs up. And if you love what you hear, send us love because we love it. Use the hearts. And if something strikes you as very, very powerful, by all means use the wow button. So if you were struck by what you just heard, make sure you use that. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Faith. Oh my goodness. I love that song. It reminds me of like a 1920s, like do, 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 and if we were in a facility, we might actually be able to do the swing while we're up there, but not so much here. Faith doesn't stay here to perform or to do her work behind the scenes. She's at her house, so that doesn't afford us the opportunity to do that. When we first started doing the service, Faith was actually here. So I'm going to show a little clip a little bit later of what it was like when Faith was here in my presence. So anyway, there's turmoil all around us, especially these days. The country's split. Our families are split. It's so weird. Like families are breaking up because they're arguing over masks and vaccinations and, political views and everything. And I look around and I see the turmoil. I do. And it's not like I'm perfect because I'm not. What's interesting is, so ministers have the challenge of saying the same thing every week, 52 different ways. And that's not an easy task. But the other thing that happens is we choose titles and then we live the sermon. And so this week has been a tough week for me. My Belgian Malinois that I cared for 2.5 years moved to Washington 3 months ago and was supposed to come back yesterday. And from what I gather, she's not ever coming back. So It's been a grief-filled day. Yesterday, we made the decision to put our pit bull, our 13-year-old pit bull, down Monday. Faith was raised with this dog, so it's hard for Faith as well. So anyway, I'm living my sermon as I speak because I had the opportunity last night to practice the principles that I teach and to practice the tools that I'm going to give you a little bit later. But I thought that I would start out by providing an understanding of what the path of peace is. The path of peace is not one that you work towards or that you practice at. It is an everyday living beingness that you have because God is peace, right? I don't believe that God is turmoil. And so when I think about the path of peace, what I think about is the opportunities that I am afforded to practice my spiritual practice that keeps me in peace, right? Because I have some unpeaceful things happening right now. And so I have had the opportunity to actually work on that. And so practicing my spiritual principles keeps me on the path of peace. When I deviate from the path, I'm never very satisfied or happy. And the point is really to be happy. That's why we like that song. I'm happy, I'm grateful. And it's important to note that happiness is not something that you achieve later. It is something that is a choice here and now, every single minute of every day. We can either choose to be happy or we can choose to be right in arguments with people. When you're willing to give up the need to be right, that's where happiness is found. And happiness leads to that peace. If we're practicing it, if we're practicing the choice of happiness each moment. And so I thought I'd give a definition, my definition of peace, because peace is the calm and tranquility of our soul in the midst of difficult circumstances. It's what's going on all around us. Whether we're talking about the global economy is down, Boris Johnson resigned in the UK. The former prime minister of Japan was assassinated. So it's not just in the US that this is going on. It's kind of a global reality that there is turmoil everywhere. And so the difference is fact or truth, because fact is, yes, this is happening. Fact is that there have been mass shootings. Fact is that the former prime minister was assassinated. Fact is that everywhere is in turmoil. That's a fact, okay? But the truth is that God is more powerful than any of these things. God is more powerful than any circumstance we could imagine. And so when I think about all of these things that I see, I think about God being more powerful than that. Yes, they happen. You can't deny that they happen. But if we focus our attention on, remember, I always say, what we focus our attention on, we create more of. So if I don't want more turmoil in my life, then I'm not going to focus on that turmoil. For instance, watching the news 24/7 is not good for us. I don't care whether you're watching Fox News or you're watching MSNBC. It doesn't really matter. It's always bad news. Well, there's a good news here and there, but for the most part, it's bad news. And if you're listening to that 24/7, what begins to happen is that your focus becomes on all the turmoil in the world. And when you focus on that, you create more turmoil, and that filters down into your personal life. And so I always say it's fact versus truth. 10% fact, you watch TV, you watch the news to get the information. So that information becomes 10%. And then it's 90% truth. So I live my life moving my awareness from the turmoil back to the peace of God. And that's really what is necessary. Because as a general rule, we want to control things. We have this whole thing about the illusion of control, that we think we can control things, and everything is out of our control. There is no such thing as being able to control things. And when we recognize that, it's a lot easier to surrender that need to control and live in peace. So Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, "My peace is found in the heart of God." And that's really the truth of it. When I want peace, basically, what I need to do is focus on God. And it doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter which God it's all God, but which form of God you are talking about. You know, it can be Allah. It could be the Great Spirit in the Native American tradition. And the Kahunas celebrate the spirit of God. The Buddhists talk about a divine intelligence. It doesn't really matter. All of that is God. And so when we focus our attention on that, when we know that peace is something that is generated from within, then it's a lot easier for us to tap into it. I follow this guru. Sometimes he's really funny. I can't remember his name right off the bat. But he's this like funny old man, and he has this big long white beard, big bushy long white beard, and he wears the traditional robes of the Hindi faith. And he starts one of these lectures. He cracks himself up, like he'll say something, and then he starts ha 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 because he thinks he's really funny. You know, he is funny, but I mean, he laughs at himself. And he starts out his lectures things like, "So do you like the sound? Does it sound good for you?" People are like nodding their heads like, what does this have to do with anything? And so he talks about what it takes to get a good sound, you know, the mics and the soundboard and the technician and the engineer and the all of that leads into that experience of good sound. And he said, peace is like that. There is always inner peace within you. It's always there. But you need all of these components to bring it forth. You need to, it's a technology that you need to access within you in order to have peace show up in your world, right? And I agree with him. I think that's true. I think that peace is something that you have to cultivate. It's there already, but we don't experience it as there because we are so busy looking at the turmoil in our lives, in the world around us, you know, the mask thing, the vaccination thing, the COVID thing, the, you know, the violence thing, the gun thing, the, you know, it's just all of it. All of it is, you know, Black Lives Matter. No, all lives matter. Well, all lives don't matter if the Chinese Americans are being abused, you know, it's just women's rights are being violated, you know, stuff like that. Not all lives matter until all of that matters. One group subset of anything cannot be less than if all lives matter. And so as long as we are not acknowledging, you know, women's rights, as long as we are not acknowledging Black Lives Matter, as long as we are not acknowledging that Chinese Americans are Americans and deserve to be in peace, as long as we don't acknowledge all of that, as long as we think that that doesn't matter, then all lives can't matter, you see. So it's all a matter of encompassing it all. And what happens to us, number one, we want to control everything. That's the big thing. But what happens to us is that we worry, okay? And what is worry? It's an emotion and a thought process all at once, right? You hear me talk about how thought is creative and that every thought is creative, but the most powerful ones are the ones that are fueled by emotion, right? And so when you look at worry, what's going on behind the scenes, behind your brain and your heart, is that you are afraid of losing control, afraid of losing a person, afraid of having to live life without someone, afraid of you know, not being able to do what you used to do. It's all of that kind of stuff. And that fear is such a powerful emotion that when we have these thoughts, these constant thoughts, and we power that with emotion, it creates more of that in our lives. And so worry, I like to say, is the most powerful form of prayer, because what you focus your attention on, you create more of. So if you're worried about something, the more you obsess on those thoughts and those feelings, the more your world reflects that back to you. And that guru that I talked about talks about peace, and how when you're cultivating that peace within, then you are going to outpicture that in your life. But if you aren't paying attention to that, if you're not allowing yourself to focus on that, then you're going to create the opposite in your world. So he really, pretty much everybody teaches our stuff. It's just that we limit it to this, this is what we teach. And so I want you to look at all of the incessant thoughts that you have and realize that those incessant thoughts, fueled by that fear of losing control or that fear of losing something, cause it to actually happen, right? And so we want to take our thoughts away from whatever we're worried about and place it back on the vibration of peace that is God within us, right? If you have no peace, N-O peace, then it's really important for you to know peace, K-N-O-W peace. We're not responsible for others being in peace. We're only responsible for our own experience. However, as I've said before, we contribute to that big sea of consciousness, whatever we obsess about. I'd rather be obsessed about peace. I'd rather be obsessed with being happy than to be obsessed with something that's going on in the world or something that's going on in my personal life that I'm unhappy with. Because if I focus on those things, then I'm worrying and I'm creating more of it. One of the things that probably the only thing that I've ever agreed with George Bush on is the 1,000 points of light. Now he means it like when there's 1,000 points of light, everybody's kind of on the same page, and that we do mean it that way also. But the deeper meaning for me is that when we reach that 1,000 points of light, where people are drawing out of that sea of consciousness, that peace, and then passing that on, so to speak, by having more experience of peace and contributing to the sea of consciousness. And those 1,000 people feed another 1,000 people, and those 1,000 people feed another 1,000 people. And we reach that 100th monkey concept where, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the 100th monkey is about, they noticed a behavior in one part of the world that these monkeys were doing, and in another totally separate part of the world, these other monkeys started doing that behavior. Now the monkeys don't have any way to communicate with each other because they're thousands and thousands of miles away, and it's not like field researchers went out there and taught these monkeys anything. It's just an adaptation that happened. And for me, once we reach that 1,000 points of light and we are passing it on, and it's affecting 1,000 more people and 1,000 more people, we have reached that 100th monkey syndrome, so to speak. And it's for the good of all. Now, we're not responsible for all. We're only responsible for ourselves. But when we do our part, when you and I work on our consciousness, then we do our part so that the world and the mass consciousness for peace can exist. And peace in my world brings me happiness. I love that song, Don't Worry, Be Happy, because it's really about that. That was going to be the original title of the song or of the sermon. And I was like, well, first of all, last time we did that song, they blocked our sound in a bunch of different countries because we were using copywritten material. So I don't do that anymore. We stick to what we know we can get away with. Like Elaine Silver, who's given permission, or Karen Drucker, who's given us permission to use their stuff. So I kind of limit to that so that we don't get muted, because I want people to be able to hear these songs. I want people to get the contextual message that the songs are bringing to my message, or God's message through me. Every Sunday morning, my prayer is, I allow God's truth to speak through me. I let go of any need to control the words that are said and how they're said by just allowing myself to open my mouth and God comes out. And that really is how we want to live our life. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, if we could live our lives 100% that way, there wouldn't be any turmoil in the world, because we would have reached a point where God is the only experience we will have. And peace will be the only experience we will have. So Happiness is just a state of mind. It's not something we reach out for and experience in the future. It's not a place we go. It is only that part of us that actually knows peace that allows us to have that happiness. And so peace and happiness are really connected. The name of the Path of Peace came from one of my favorite ministers that I love to listen to, Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen, who is a Dutch man from South Africa. And I could listen to him for hours because I love his accent, but his messages are always pretty clear. And he talks about the path of peace as being asking yourself, what is stressing me out? Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it a thing? What is that stressor? We can get all caught up in, people upsetting us, which has been my experience lately, people upsetting us, or we can get caught up in the love of God, the peace of God. And so that's where I'm placing my my focus over the last couple of days, knowing that, we have to put Daisy to sleep on Monday, and knowing that Duchess will probably never come back to me. I've had to really focus my attention on what it means to be at peace, what it means to celebrate, cultivate, and activate the peace of God that lives within me. And so one of the ways we do that is through affirmations. Whenever you are looking at all the turmoil in the world and seeing all the places where turmoil exists, you want to not deny that exists, but instead say, no, I'm turning away from that and I'm turning towards peace. And so the affirmation becomes, I'm turning towards peace, or peace is my reality, or peace is where I'm at. And, part of the whole thing with politics that I really don't like is that it's all about either maintaining power, greedy, trying to stay in power, or greed trying to capture power. I love this message from One Tin Soldier. I don't know how many of you know that song. Probably all of you. It's a Christmas song that usually gets sung. But it's about this village up in the mountains that has this treasure. And this group of people goes up there and kills everybody off because they want the treasure. And they kill everybody off, and they go to where the temple where that treasure is stored, and they uncover it, and it is a plaque that says, "Peace on earth, goodwill toward man." So where are we placing our attention on treasure? Sorry. Are we placing our attention on the treasures of the world? Money, power, control, all of those things. Or, I'm sorry, I do not have an air conditioner right now, still. So, it's hot. It's hot in here. Are we placing our attention on comfort? Are we placing our attention on peace? Because really, happiness, peace, comfort, joy, all of those things is where we should be placing our attention, not on because that's where the treasure is. That's the treasure that lives within us, inside of us, is peace on earth, goodwill toward man, woman, child, and animal. And it's really important that we recognize that as we are affirming that, no, I place my attention on peace, or no, peace is what I focus on. As we're doing that, we're creating the opportunity for other people to be at peace, you see. And our happiness is not dependent upon another person. We give our power away so often because we seek peace with another person. We seek that peace with someone. And when that's taken away, we feel so unlike peace. We feel in turmoil. And so in my case, that's Duchess. When Vincent took her away, I kind of lost it a little bit because I really relied on her for my peace, to be perfectly honest. Stroking her really gave me a lot of peace and a lot of joy and a lot of happiness. And now I don't have that. So I've had to rethink how I'm going to work my life, and I know that, up here, I always know that my peace doesn't come from stroking a dog. My peace comes from God within me, comes from in here. So intellectually, I get that. But making that shift from the brain, the mental process, into the heart is a little bit longer of a journey. And I just have to keep reminding myself of that. So this week, I really want you to focus on that, on looking at the turmoil in the world and saying, no, I choose to focus on peace. I choose happiness in this moment. Then I'm going to give you some tools here. The very first one is, of course, the affirmations, but the second one is meditation. And I think it's important for us to meditate every day, whether we do it a couple minutes or half an hour or an hour. The more time I spend in meditation, the happier I am, the more at peace I am. And one of those things, like what Ram Dass explained, he was being trained to meditate in a temple, and he was sitting there and he's like, yeah, this is wonderful. I'm able to meditate. This is really great. But I don't know if meditation really is working until I can do that in the middle of New York City. So he did. He left the temple and he went out on the busiest street corner in New York City and meditated to prove to himself that meditation works. And it did. Now, I'm not saying you need to go do that. Of course not. What I'm saying is it makes it so much easier to jump to center if we have that experience of doing it daily, right? For instance, on 9/11, I teach my practitioner students to jump to center. And on 9/11, we all met at the church, and it was like, jump to center, guys. Come on, we have to do that. And and my team was so good, and we all did. We just jumped to center. But it was because we were well practiced in meditation and prayer that we were able to achieve that in the midst of turmoil. Again, taking my definition of peace as peace is calm and tranquility of our soul in the midst of difficult circumstances. It's real easy to be peaceful when everything in your life is working, right? It's really easy to just sink into that peace. But when things challenge us, like 9/11 or the pandemic or the mass shootings or anything like that, when those things trigger us, it's a lot harder to jump to center if we don't have the practice of getting there. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways to begin meditation. And the first one is called belly breathing. And that, because, in the midst of turmoil, in the midst of everything that's going on in our lives, we end up breathing from here, from chest. And we're not getting enough oxygen to our body, for one thing. But for another thing, when you're only breathing into your chest, a lot of things seem more powerful than they are because we're not really fully in our bodies. So the first thing I'm going to show you the demonstration that I did on Faith years ago about belly breathing, because belly breathing will take us to a place where we are more solid and unable to be pulled off center. So watch this short little video here. I apologize for the quality, but we were trying to do this while we were doing the service. So I need to have Faith come over so we can do a better video of this. But here we go. I want you to steady your feet. Plant your feet. And I want you to push back no matter what I do, right? Push back as hard as you can. My goodness. She's a pushover. Okay, go ahead. Do it again. Do it again. Oh, there she is. Okay. Now I want you to close your eyes and I want you to breathe from right here. I want you to focus the in-breath coming up from your belly, up into your lungs, up into your head, and then back out again, cleansing the lungs of all air, then letting go of all the air in your belly. And again, you're going to breathe in from your belly, come up through the chest, up into your nose and sinuses, and then you're going to release it from the sinuses and nose, through the chest, and down through the belly. I want you to do one more just like that. And I don't want you to pay any attention to where my hand is going. I want you to just focus on that breath. Another big belly breath. And now, do you feel how hard I'm pushing? And what's happening? Tell them
Not
what's happening.
going anywhere.
She is not moving a muscle. And that is the power of belly breath. So as you can see, it is a really good way to make sure that no one can knock you off center with what you perceive as control. Hi, Fred, Kathy, and Marlene. 11:11. It's 11:11, everyone. And so I wanted to show that little demonstration because I want you to practice with me this week, belly breathing every day. When you're breathing from here, you're very easily knocked over and people can upset you. Situations can upset you. Turmoil can get to you. When you're belly breathing, and I got to practice this a lot last night, I was holding this little cute chihuahua on my lap and seething with anger over this whole Duchess issue. And I realized at some point that it really wasn't a good idea for her to be experiencing that. So I had to do a bunch of belly breathing to get to a point where I could hold her without it affecting her. Because, you know, dogs are very sensitive and they feel things. And so I practiced my belly breathing and I did more of it last night before I went to sleep so that I could sleep peacefully. And so I encourage you this week to every day do some belly breathing. If you can do it 4 or 5 times a day, that's even better. Just take 5 minutes, take like a breathe break is what I call them. And you're going to pull that air down into your belly and your belly will fill up with air as you do that. And then when you release that breath, you're going to and go until your belly is indented, right? And just breathe like that. Hold it in between so you don't hyperventilate, but breathe like that for 5 minutes every day. And I guarantee you it will change your life. Nothing in the world can upset you when you are centered, and belly breathing gets you into that space of jump to center. So the other little exercise that my first yoga teacher taught me for meditation is you take a candle and you set it in front of you and you sit cross-legged on the floor and you stare at this candle flame without trying not to blink and just stare at it for 1 minute. And once that 1 minute, you can set a timer. Once that 1 minute is over, you take the palms of your hands. You don't apply a lot of pressure, but you apply enough pressure that you feel it. And then notice that right here in the center of your forehead is a flame. Now, the object of the meditation is to keep that flame in place as much as possible, because what starts to happen is it does this. As we begin to think about, oh, I need to do laundry. Oh, I didn't take care of that. Oh, tomorrow I need to. The monkey mind gets carried away and takes us off into that other reality. And when that happens, the flame goes away. So the object of the meditation, even if you do it just for 1 minute at first, is to keep that flame as steady as possible between your eyes there on your forehead. And if you practice it every day, if you do 1 minute a day, then you stretch it to 2 minutes, you stretch it as long as you can and try to get it up to 5 minutes a day. If you're doing belly breathing 3 or 4 times a day and you're doing this candle exercise once a day, I guarantee your life will change. And then the meditation, it leads us into prayer, which, you know, we're not praying for peace, we're praying peace. In other words, I am shifting my awareness now to the place where I know God's peace, right? I'm shifting my awareness to concentrating on the vibration of peace that is God's vibration. And that's what we're praying. And in doing so, you can concentrate on whatever you want. You can concentrate on God. You can concentrate on great spirit, divine intelligence, the spiritual entity, whatever your choice is, Allah. You can focus your attention on whatever word works for you. But you also want to focus your attention on the word peace. What does peace mean to me? What would it be like when I have peace? What happens to everything around me when I'm at peace? And that could be the wind blowing in your hair. That could be sitting on the porch looking at your flowers. That could be enjoying the presence of an animal. Whatever that is, just allow yourself to really indulge in that, because that's the place of power. That's where our power comes from. And you will be more powerful if you begin to breathe, do your belly breathing, focus your attention off of turmoil onto peace, do some meditation every single day. And then when things happen, you will be able to jump to center like my practitioners do. Will you join me in that this week? Let's have a prayer. I now focus my attention on the infinite power and the infinite presence of God, to that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. For God is all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is here and now, operating in my reality. And so this is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that is God flowing through me effortlessly. I know that same truth to be so for each member of the team that God has provided me. For Faith and for Tina and for Elaine and for Karen and for Lynn and for Oz. All of us are guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that lives within us, that flows through us. For everything that we think, say, and do is infused with that. We vibrate at the frequency of the ancient wisdom of the ages. And so I know that truth to be so for each of us here, whether that's in real time or later on, because we are all one. The flow of God flows through us. The river, I should say, of God flows through us. And we are connected by it, through it, as it. There is no place where one leaves off and the other begins, for we are all one. Mitakuye Oyasin, all my brethren, we are all one. And so in this awareness, I bless this coming week, because I do know that opportunities show up for us to experience that peace in a safe and relaxed way every day, so that when something does happen, we are able to access that, to cultivate that peace and power within us that is God living in us. That we are able to access it readily and easily. So I know this coming week is filled with those kind of opportunities as we turn our awareness away from the turmoil and towards peace. We begin to experience a more peaceful existence. And we now contribute to that sea of consciousness. Those feelings, those powerful experiences of God's peace. We live in this moment to that. I know that same truth is so for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, because I do know that whatever they're experiencing, God is absolutely the power behind it, and has the power to dissipate it, to banish it back to the nothingness from which it came. The focus on God, the focus on the peace of God, the focus on the peace of God found in the heart of God, that focus eliminates whatever this condition is. So I pull back the veil and claim it for them and call it good and very good in their name. I just revel in the gratitude that this brings, to be of service in this way, to know that this is done here and now. I give thanks for this, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Alrighty then. I was gone for a little bit. I like that. I love doing meditation. I love doing prayer. I usually try to spend an hour or two a day doing that. I know that seems excessive, but when you're a minister, what was it they said at my ordination? A minister who does not have time to meditate and pray is way too busy. Because that is our job, basically. You know, yes, we answer to the needs of our congregation, but our job really is to stay prayed up and to stay meditated up and to be able to jump to center in any situation. So that's what we work on. So right now, this is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express gratitude for that which you have already seen in the physical realm, and for that which you have created in the mind of God but may not see in the physical realm yet, because that is the magnetic force that we activate when we are grateful for that which we haven't actually seen yet. We are magnetizing ourselves to that good experience. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you to go to oasiscsl.org, and about 2/3 down the page is an offering affirmation that I'm going to have you say with me. And then underneath that is a contribute now button. And let me talk just a little bit about the contribution, because we are not in a facility. So you're not paying facility rent. It's not necessarily going to salaries or utilities or anything like that. What we use that money for mostly is to do a global outreach, a marketing program to the rest of the world. You know, we already have people like from the UK and Germany and Holland that are tuning in. But we would like to reach out and globally lift and uplift and inspire the world in all countries. So your contributions are assisting God's message in getting through to the rest of the world. So please go with me now, whether you're watching in real time or you're watching later, you can do along with us. Please now go to www.oasiscsl.org. I'm sorry, I'm glowing. I keep seeing myself glow, and I'm like, oh, I better do something with that. So please go with me right now to www.oasiscsl.org, and about 2/3 down the page, say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. My God. It's 92 degrees outside. It feels like it's 100. Probably isn't 100 in this house. I don't know. All right. Now hit that contribute now button and help facilitate God's message getting out and uplifting and inspiring the world. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners that are in our ministry of prayer, our healing arm of our church, which we call the God Squad. And our licensed practitioners are from coast to coast. Right now we have Minnesota, Wisconsin, Denver, California. So, and you know, Oz is in Florida most of the time. So I like to say that we're coast to coast, which is kind of cool. Anyway, and so they form what we call our God Squad, which means if you have a prayer request, put it in the comments. If you don't want it to be public, you can always DM either Faith or myself, and we will put it on the list. But the God Squad has a private-facing Facebook group page where they look up all of the prayer requests and use that for praying. So take advantage of this loving service they provide by either putting your prayer request in the comment section or DMing Faith or myself. Excuse me, and we'll add that to the private-facing group Facebook page. That's a mouthful to say. If you would like to be part of the God Squad for that purpose only, you do not need to be a licensed practitioner. You do, however, need to be committed to doing affirmative prayer, meaning no asking, no beseeching, affirmative prayer, knowing the truth, and doing that every day for a week and keeping those prayer requests confidential. If you would like to be part of that team, say yes in the comment section, and Faith will add you to that, to our God Squad page. If you would like to be part of our bigger community, our online community, you can type more in that comment section and she will add you to our public facing group page. God, this is just getting crazy. Her public facing group page. And you'll be able to see stuff that people don't see out in public yet. We announce everything there first. All right. So a little bit more about our practitioners. Oz is available at the end of this for what we call our 1 minute miracle. It is not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share whatever experience you're having, whatever condition you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And you reach out to him through video chat. And if he doesn't answer right away, it means he's probably on with someone else. So wait a few minutes and then call back. If you would like, our practitioners are available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance as well. So, and only the licensed practitioners are allowed to do that. So, what you do is you reach out to them either by Facebook or on our webpage or on our website. Reach out to them and let them know that you would like an appointment, and they will figure out some way for you to pay either by Cash App or Venmo or PayPal or Wise. They'll figure out a way for you to pay for it, and then they will reach out to you by video chat at the appointed time. So take advantage of these services that the practitioners provide. They're really powerful. So real quickly, let me go through. We have a couple of items that we like to always do. First and foremost is Brooks and Bailey, who has mala beads and bracelets. The mala beads have, I believe it's 108 beads. That comes from the Buddhist and Hindu tradition of using one bead per mantra, chant. And I like using them for affirmations because I always say do 100 affirmations a day. So you can do one bead at a time and get 100 affirmations in. The bracelets have 54, I believe. And so you would just go around the bracelet twice for that 100 affirmations. Anyway, this one is made of amethyst because I special ordered it through her. So this one's $60. They have everything from $30 on. And you want to, all the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, a very worthy cause. And you can contact them through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail or on their Facebook page. They now have a Facebook page. And every now and then, if you notice, I share anything that they share. I go ahead and share because I believe in their product and I believe in their company. So, and then there's Faith.
And please check out my metaphysical shop. The website is officially down as of last week, but I am still taking orders through Instagram or Facebook. Just message us and we can get sent to you guys. So please follow at the Mystic Brew 303, and we'll also be doing special events and stuff here and there as well. So make sure to follow. We do intention jars that help you through your meditation to attract whatever you are currently working on, as well as we have kits for you to make your own, as well as bath salts.
Okay, thank you. And this is an intention jar she made for prosperity for me. It's $15, and it's getting worn out. All the wax is starting to crack off because I use it so much. When I'm focusing on my prosperity, I hold that jar in front of me and just kind of look at it and handle it. It just gives me a focal point. So as an adjunct, we have Angel Renee, who has intention candles and tea bags that you can put in your bath that have these herbs in it that help you, again, focus on your intention. So she has an Etsy store, and Faith has provided all of that information in the comments. We like to support those who support us. So Elaine Silver's music. If you enjoyed it today, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, go to her website, which Faith has put up on the screen and is in the comments section. And you will have to reach out to her by email to find out how to pay for it. She travels around the country singing all the time. And so, and she doesn't have any way to update her website to tell you how to pay for it. So what I suggest is you go on the website. I don't remember what album that was on. Do you, Faith? Anyway, if you do search it on Google or on YouTube, you'll be able to find which album it's on, or CD, I should say. But anyway, you go on, you decide what CD you want, let her know by email, and then she always has them in the trunk of her car, and she will send them to you. She has some great music on there. And then there's Karen Drucker's website. Karen Drucker's website works. You can purchase it with your debit or credit card right then and there. You can buy it by the song, the CD, or a songbook. Some of the songbook pages have American Sign Language so that you can learn how to sign the song, which is kind of cool. Faith has done those a couple of times. But anyway, we like to support those that support us. So please, by all means, go and check out their websites and buy some of their music. They have gifted us with their music, and we couldn't do this without them. So, and then check out our website, www.oasiscsl.org. We have video sermons from the last 2 years. We have audio sermons from years prior. We have events that we've done at the church, like my ordination, Lynn's ordination, and, picnics and that kind of stuff. So you can see our spiritual family, put some names and faces together. But also we are available on YouTube and SoundCloud under S. Tucker. YouTube has the video files and SoundCloud has the audio files. So check us out under S. Tucker. All right. This is our last song for the day. I am so blessed. It's a wonderful meme to get stuck in your head because it does bless you. And here we go.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
I know that God's presence right here, right now, envelops and enfolds you, now and for all time. I give thanks for the blessings of God in my life and yours, and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. As I'm doing this, I'm remembering like the Southern Baptist churches where the minister always had a rag.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, praise God. Like Dr. Martin used to say. But I kind of feel like that right now. I'm melting. All right. Stay safe, wear a mask. Join us next Sunday and every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We are so blessed that you were here with us today, because there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we're glad you were here with us today. So join us next week. Stay safe, wear a mask. We love you. Bye for now.